Everyone has an opinion about a lifestyle that they don't live themselves, despite not being able to get a grip on their own. All right, so today it's going to be a bit more somber and pensive because I want to discuss people's reaction to Jacky Oh's passing. Getting the news was shocking and devastating considering the circumstances. Wow. Now, being an elder millennial, I grew up on Wild and Out, and then when they did the re-premiere, ooh, I would also catch episodes. So these were the ones with Jacky and her man on the episodes. So, and also like my kids and I, like we used to watch them together. So these people, we developed some sort of like parasocial relationship. So I don't know the woman personally, and I'm not going to offer up an opinion about how and why she passed. I honestly don't think it's necessarily like her fault or she should have known better type of situation. But everyone's reaction to it, like they're arrogantly communicating to the world that a deceased woman should and shouldn't have decided to do this or should have known that and such and such and such. Actually, I'll do eyeshadow first. I want to do eyeshadow today. But I mean, who are we to tell her what decision to make? That's her decision to make. What I'm most annoyed by, rather, is how people who also live within society just like you do want to play that, like what we call virtue signaling. They want to play that game of being righteous and whatnot. Like, oh my God, she was always so pretty. Why does she think she need work? She didn't need work. Or things like that. Or she should have just been happy with her body. How? Why? When in society, women who have never had a baby are already picked apart. But then a woman, a beautiful woman, I think Jacky's a beautiful woman, who's also considered a preference, decides that she wants to maintain a perception. Why is that a bad thing? Especially when her livelihood depends on it. Now, for the women who have had children, most of us know the trauma that your body goes through. It's inevitable. And we play we play these mommy games that I like to call them. Talking about the snapback, talking about, did you get stretch marks and things like that. All of those things are vanity metrics because going through having a child, when a baby is in utero and it's growing, it's pushing on your organs and your abdominal walls and muscles. So things down there on the inside internally are being smushed and at the same time being stretched, sometimes what we presume beyond repair. But we supposed to always look fine after dropping a baby. Also, the simple fact that after going through such trauma and experiencing all that, like you grew and incubated a whole human in your body for upwards of 40 weeks. And then people are expecting you within a couple of weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks, to look like you've never had a baby, like your body's never been touched by nature. So yes, she probably did feel pressure. Like she had 3 whole babies, and if she decided that she, was satisfied with the amount of children she had and going through physical fitness, going to the gym and things like that wasn't giving her the results she wanted, like eating right or, the calorie deficit and then exercising, that helps you lose weight and develop a physique, yes. But what I mean is you develop the strength. That's what I'm saying. Fitness, physical fitness helps you develop strength and things like that. It's not necessarily something that's going to be a fixer-upper for a postpartum woman. So her exercising, working out, doing her best to eat clean and such, was it going to fix her body being mutilated? And people were talking about this BBL. I don't think that was the only thing. I don't know all the details. It probably very well could have been just the BBL, but I'm presuming after having 3 beautiful babies, and they were were her first 2, were they like 3 years apart? And then the last 2, they were like a year or maybe 2 years apart. To be quite honest, that's not that much time apart in age. So she was pretty much pregnant back to back, few years. She was pregnant back to back to back. Anything less than maybe 5 years by the time the baby's kindergarten, as a mother, I consider that back to back. Okay. Because she had pretty much a newborn, a toddler, and now just a school age baby. And people want to judge her. You can't just recover from having a baby so easily. There are oftentimes women who physically, they don't have any stretch marks. Their skin isn't visibly loose, but they might can stretch it now. And they don't have any extra visceral fat that's just relentless and won't go away. But on the inside, like they might have, some issues with organs. They might have, they might actually still have like their muscles all ripped apart in there. But because of the vanity metrics and society, she feel like she's good. And what having ripped apart muscles mean, people are thinking like, oh, okay, it's just your muscles. It happens. It's an injury. It's not just an injury. Your core, your gut, your abdominals are what keep you. Your core is your stomach, your abs, and also your back. So that's what keeps your posture correct, or helps you keep your posture correct. You use your core muscles for almost everything. Your core is your center, and it functions every other extremity part of your body pretty much. If your core isn't the healthiest, or if it's not intact, you develop, back issues. Walking, surprisingly, may not always be as elegant as it used to be, or sometimes maybe even painful. Your pelvis, that's been moved around and rocked and all of that. And then how people, like, come on. Her man has been on camera talking about women's bodies looking nasty after stretch marks and such. Mind you, usually, if stretch marks doesn't come from being big and then getting little, or being little and getting big, stretch marks pretty much inevitably come from having a baby. And you open up your mouth to say some slick stuff like that. So the fact that people are berating a deceased woman, judging her and being mad at her, calling stuff karma, which, granted, that's what people do. One thing about people, if you don't like somebody and something happens to them, oh, it's karma. It's karma. Like, you're happy that they're being punished for something. Oftentimes, humans rejoice in people's demise. And that's what it seems like people are doing. Even if it's not an outright celebration, the simple fact to tell a woman like, hey, you're not beautiful anymore, ha ha ha. That's like that's the catch. And she still very much was beautiful. Her body just wasn't what it used to be, and she needed to be stronger than what it was. If she could lose the weight through the food, okay. She did the exercise, but she could have exercised in this lifetime and a proverbial next lifetime, and she still wouldn't have fixed like messed up abdominal muscles. You know what I mean? she still wouldn't be able to fit into clothes the way she needed to take pictures as a model and actress and to be presentable on camera. Because what do people do when someone is conventionally unattractive and they're actors and their careers, you know, being on camera all the time? They talk a lot of crap. People are mean. People talk junk about beautiful women who also tend to be nice or don't start anything with people, and people still talk junk. So y'all are way too arrogant as an audience of such or spectators about a woman who wanted to function in society just like we do. But it's also been up for debate. I'm thinking a lot too because I feel very empathetic in this situation. I usually don't discuss things such as passing, only because that's not necessarily what my focus is. That's not my niche. But I wanted to bring this up because I too am a woman and I have something to offer up for the conversation. But it's been up for debate amongst the court of public opinion that she was doing this too soon. So her younger baby is less than a year old. And from what I've gathered, like, as a mom myself, well over a decade ago, I too was looking at, you know, the website like Real Self, because being an athlete of sorts myself, the fact that something as simple as diastasis recti, preventing you from being able to execute moves properly or being able to just keep things intact in there as far as your organs, that hurts. Stuff like that hurts. I mean, eventually you do get over the vanity issue. Depending on who you are, you might get over the vanity issue. But if your livelihood, your bread and butter is contingent on your body and your looks and how it moves and functions, you're going to try to remedy that. The doctor is under a lot of pressure too. I mean, as he should, because from the reviews and things and these lawsuits that he has, this is not looking good for him. Now, he may not get put away for medical malpractice in this situation. Learn how laws works, child. But there needs to be some sort of accountability amongst, if we want to say, if not the doctor, then maybe both parties. If she didn't, quote unquote, do her research well enough, that is one thing. So she went to a plastic surgeon who wasn't board certified. Within this country, it's one thing here in America to go to. Like, abroad, they're not board certified because they're in another country. But here in America, that's a whole nother thing, because that's why we have our qualifications and such for being a cosmetic or plastic surgeon. So she didn't do her research well enough and didn't consider that very viable necessity. And he full on took advantage of her and anyone else going to him. But then again, the public wants to say Jackie's so wrong and at fault completely for her own passing because she wanted to maintain what she had as far as her beauty. Like, why would you want to lose something that's getting you paid? Don't none of y'all want to quit y'all jobs or get fired? When it comes to women and pressures of society, there is never any understanding for us. any acceptance for the fact that, hey, maybe we want to be our best selves. We want to put our best foot forward. If that means vanity, if that means want to achieve at a job, if that means, you know what I mean, wanting to try different things. Because, child, I can guarantee you, if a man experienced anything for upwards of a year that ripped apart his abdominal muscles and affected his body in any way, cosmetic surgery and vanity metrics and what you need to do and shouldn't be doing, and you need to accept yourself for who you are, would not be a thing. Like, people will be completely understanding of men going under the knife to fix something. Come on now. If we had whichever basketball player, football player, if we found out he had some type of tumor, heavy tumor that made him look pregnant, and then after a year or so he went and got it done and he removed, and if he came out without the tummy tuck, we'd question him, quite honestly. This isn't just a double standard, it's complete and utter disregard for women. Because had she let herself go after having 3 kids, y'all talk crap about her. If she looked a little thicker around the stomach area and, you know, a little misshapen around the buttocks because maybe she gained weight in her back after having the baby, y'all would judge her so much. Y'all, oh my God, your man ain't gonna want you no more, all types of stuff. But now that she passed away from trying to secure what's her livelihood and as well as her confidence, y'all on her again. Still on her. That's just not fair. And that's only a part of living as a woman. It's living as a mother. Because we're expected to be mothers without looking like mothers, whatever that means, without looking like we've ever had children. That's what I mean. Like, if we can be mothers, the few of us who are allowed to be mothers, we can't look like it. We can't. Because where's your worth? Where's your value now? For me, in the grand scheme of things, like what this situation represents, it's not as simple as it is what it is. This is how the world works situation. It's more so of a women are expected to meet all these high yet contradictory expectations to never feel anything or want to adapt to them for whatever reasons. You know what I mean? Because it's like, if you want to achieve something, just like generally speaking, if you want to achieve something, you take the steps that are required to achieve it. So as women, if we want to be something, you know, whatever we thought about as little girls, what we wanted to be, we would take the steps to be that. And most of the time that included wanting to be beautiful, wanting to be desirable, whatever the beauty standards are, okay? So beauty standards means being desired. So if I want to be desired, here are the steps I need to take to achieve beauty. If I want to maintain my desire, here are the steps that I take to maintain being the cream of the crop, the preference, the one who gets chosen consistently. What I want to get across and communicate, considering I've kind of been all over the place, is that as a society, we conform to all these rules and such, but then when someone else fails or has some sort of demise to a situation, we want to act holier than thou, and like we too aren't susceptible to the pressures of society. And that's what's wrong. Rest peacefully, Jacky. And I really hope your babies are well taken care of.